Today we got a pretty exciting day. We're going to be reassembling the carburetor, which is the first step in assembling the top end of the Moto 4. So we'll be getting her back together and hopefully running soon. The first thing we're going to be doing is putting the needle jet back in here, and then we'll go ahead and screw that main jet on top of it. The needle jet goes in from the bottom, and there's a little notch on this jet, and you gotta make sure you line that up with this flat spot right there in that little seat. It's gonna be a little tricky. So as you feed this guy up, you gotta make sure that notch is lined up. Just like so. Now the main jet does have a washer that goes on it, so make sure you put that washer on first. And then that main jet screws right in on top of that. That gets snugged down. Next we got this is our needle valve seat. We'll go ahead and put that in. There's a screw and washer that go right next to that needle valve seat, and that's what actually holds it in. Go ahead and snug that down. The next thing that's going to be going in, we have our new needle valve. We also have our float. This needle valve just clips on to our float. Like so. It just sits there. And make sure that gets inserted nicely. And then we'll stick our pin through the whole thing. We'll make sure that pin's nice and tight. So we're going to be checking our float height now. You can adjust it by bending this little metal tab. You can bend that very carefully. We shouldn't have any issues because we didn't really mess with anything in here. But just to check, what you do is you measure from this very sealing surface right here to the top of your float. And you're looking for 11.4 to 13.4. You want to be somewhere in that range. So what we're going to do is take our calipers and we're just going to bring them on down until we're just touching, just like so. And we're reading 12.29, so we're right within that range. Good to go. And when you check that float height, you want to be sure that you're not actually depressing that needle, that your float is just resting on it but not depressing it. So we can go ahead and put our main jet washer on here. That takes care of everything on the carburetor end. Now we got our float bowl. I'm going to install our starter jet. It's just this wee little guy. It goes in that hole right there. So I did remove the float bowl drain screw. That goes in right here. I just wanted to inspect the washer on it. It's good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and put it back in. We got everything buttoned up on the carburetor end and the float bowl end. Going to grab the O-ring, the gasket that goes on there. This can really only go on one way. Just like so. There are 4 screws that hold this bad boy on. Get them in. Installing the pilot screw is a little tricky. We got the pilot screw. We then have a spring that goes over top of that. This little itty bitty washer. And then an O-ring. And that's the order you want to keep it in. And I'm just going to flip the carburetor upside down so none of that falls off. And start getting that assembled. I'm going to screw the pilot screw in until it seats. Got our pilot screw seated. And in my last video, I screwed it in and it's seated at 1 1/4 turns. So I'm going to back it off 1 1/4 turns and it'll be exactly where we had it. So there's half a turn. There's a full turn. And there's a quarter. This is the air cutoff valve. It comes with both the diaphragm and the spring. we just went ahead and bought new ones. I wasn't gonna mess with that old one. So this goes in, this little part goes down. Your diaphragm then just kind of works around here. And the spring goes on top of it. Your idle speed screw just screws on in here. We'll just kind of guess at where that gets set, and once we get the bike started, we'll get that dialed in. This large O-ring, it just goes right here. That'll connect to that boot. And that about does it for the carburetor. We got it pretty much rebuilt. We still got a couple other things, like we got a gasket that goes around here, but before we do all that, we got to make sure we have our throttle cable on, because that's got to go in here. But we're going to replace the needle, and in order to get to it, we got to unwrap this little package we left ourselves. That was from when we washed the bike. We didn't want to get all that wet. We also covered up the cylinder head. It's going to be tricky here. We got to get this needle out. So in order to do that, you got to pull this spring up as high as you can, and then you sort of shake that little collar up. Then down in there, you have your cable, and you have to kind of push that off to the side out of that slot. And it comes off like that. You normally don't want to throw it on the ground, but that's all right. It's going to be difficult to show, but in order to get this needle out, there is two little screws, one down on this side and one on this side. I'm going to take note of where this little C-clip is. We're going to install that C-clip in the exact same spot on the new one. That basically just adjusts how rich and lean the bike runs when you're giving it throttle. So we're going to make sure that we keep that the same, just the factory setting. This needle, we got a new one, not cleaning it. Everything else, we're going to spray off, clean it up real nice. The last thing we need to clean is this cover. It's amazing that this carburetor was even able to run with that amount of dirt running through it. Oh yeah, that's gross. So this is where we're going to be leaving this video off. I got everything pretty much cleaned up. I'm not going to throw that needle on here and that piston valve until I get that head back on, because once I get the head back on, I can get the boot on, and then that carburetor will actually have a place to sit, and then I'll be able to get all this on, and it won't be just loosey-goosey just in my way. So all that'll be going back on once I get that replaced. But for now, that's where we're leaving it. If you guys like these Moto4 videos, make sure you like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.